this packet is from my researching the 2 rotary switches and all the terminals on the back of them to help me understand the diagram provided by the manufacturer. So I went through and pulled all the information from the boat's electrical diagrams, as well as the information from the manufacturer's information. So what I did was I have the terminal numbers from the back of the rotary switches. I have the name that I gave to the associated wiring. So AC 3 and 4 means AC breaker stacks 3 and 4. Over here, these are pretty self-explanatory. They're the same as they're labeled on the front of the panel.
These are the current names.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The names are always going to be the same. This doesn't have anything to do with the front of the switches. This has to do with the back of the switches.
Okay.
So then you've got the legs, the neutral and the hot, and then you have the ID numbers from the boat's electrical diagram, which is typically still in place on the wires, but can be referenced in the diagram. So that's how I wrote these up. Page 1 and page 2 are readable in the same way. I labeled this output and input in the sense that that's how they're going to be utilized, and that's how I found it easiest to understand. And hopefully that helps Bill understand it going forward. Then the only other major piece of information in here that I think will be helpful for Sam, potentially, would be this section, which is just, which I got from ringing out the switch in all of its different positions, with the breaker, with the ties all removed. So in the shore 1 position, I have continuity between 21 and 22, and between 13 and 14. The reason I did this was because on this diagram from the manufacturer, doesn't have all these numbers, because this doesn't show any of the ties that are in place. So in shore 1, 13 and 14 are continuous. In inverter, 15 and 16 are continuous. And in generator, 19 and 20 are continuous. However, only 13, 15, 19, and 14 show up here.
On which switch is this now?
The left-hand switch.
Okay.
So the reason I did this was to help me understand which, if you or Fred wanted to actually rewire the switches, then this would be helpful information. Currently, most of the wiring to these switches should not have to be changed. Only a couple terminations will have to be changed. But this is still good information to know. The rest of it is mostly available in the ship's electrical drawings, and then also information that we talked about, we already covered earlier, and information that we talked about with Fred, and then some personal notes from the time that these were taken. So that's this packet.